Hello, and welcome back. Hope we've got a bit of an impromptu setup tonight because I'm not at my desk, but we're gonna work with it. We've got a little 90s glow stick, or sorry, I guess 80s is the setting of this one. But when I think Fear Street, I think neon, so I brought out a glow stick. Tonight we're doing book, oh god, I've lost track at this point, it'll be in the title, of 100, and it was The Prom Queen by RL Stine. Tonight we're going to talk about Prom Queen, and we're going to talk about Prom Queen, if you know what I mean. So I was waiting for the new installment of the Fear Street movies to come out before I read this, which I picked up at a local bookstore last summer. Because I didn't want to spoil the movie. I wanted to watch it without having the influence of the book. And I think that was a good decision. But we'll talk more about that in a second. So, first of all, this has got classic Fear Street. This is an OG copy, not a reprint. So, it's got the all the stuff on the inside, advertisements, and all that jazz. It's very retro. With the styling, and I love it for what it is. So, approve of the book jacket. No issues there. I don't think I read the back, so let me tell you what the book is about. A spring night, soft moonlight, 5 beautiful prom queen candidates, dancing couples at the shady side high prom. These should be ingredients for romance, but stir in one brutal murder, then another, and the recipe quickly turns to horror. Lizzie McVeigh realizes that someone is murdering the 5 prom queen candidates one by one, and that she may be next on the list. Can she stop the murderer before the dance is over for good? So this is our premise. And classic Fear Street style, I would say this book fits it 100%. It's exactly what you'd expect. And if this is your style, if you're wanting to go back and relive this period in time, this kind of intro level horror story, then this is a good one. It's one of the better ones, I would say, that I've read so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot to say about the book. Mostly I wanted to do this book just so I could talk about the movie. And so if you don't want any spoilers for the Netflix Fear Street Prom Queen, just click off of this video right now. Boy howdy, is it a departure from the book. It is Prom Queen in name only. The story is entirely different from the book. So, without spoiling the book or the movie before I get into spoilers, I can tell you 100% that if you read the book, you have no idea what's going to happen in the show, and if you watch the show, you have no idea what's going to happen in the movie, because the only similarities are the name and the fact that there are prom queens that are being murdered. Yeah, so the killer in the book, the way the story is structured, everything about the book is better. And I don't know why they did not stick to the book, because it is a great story. They could have easily just done the book as a movie, even if they had changed it slightly, but they just went completely off the rails for some ungodly reason. And I gotta say, I was not impressed. I had really, really high expectations of the the movie, and based on the previous installments, like the original trilogy, Netflix trilogy of Fear Street, 1994, 1978, and 1666. My expectations were so high, and it wasn't even that it failed to meet my expectations. It was a completely different style of story, which is fine, and I would say it is 100% more in line with the structure of how the Fear Street anthology is. Individual stories that don't necessarily relate to one another, that just all take place in Shady Side, and all have this element of the legend of Fear Street. So, in that sense, the movie is truer to the Fear Street books than the original Fear Street trilogy. But it is not a true adaptation of the book in any way. The specific book that it is named after and based off of. Oh gosh, okay, now we're getting into the spoiler section. So if you don't want the show spoiled for you, now's the time to leave. I was, oh gosh, it didn't make any sense to me. Didn't make sense to any of you. I didn't understand the red trench coat murderer outfits. And I can't remember all of the characters' names, so I apologize for that. I have watched it twice. I gave it a full second chance, and I still was disappointed in it. I think, oh gosh, I don't want to just like ramble on about this forever, but this setup of like the killers and the murder, it just really fell flat for me. I think there was a good kind of red herring element to it, where they like set you up to believe you know who the killer is. It's like, oh, it's obviously the girl, you know? And then you're like, no, it can't be her. It's too obvious. And so in your mind, you're like convoluting everything to like explain who the killer's gonna be, and then it turns out to be that girl and her family, and you're like, well, this is so stupid. It makes no sense. The reason for killing them makes no sense. There's no reason for them to kill the prom queens at all. It's just, and I don't understand the killer outfits, and like the one girl that gets killed in the locker room, and she's like running from the killer, and then she opens the door and there's another killer, and there's this look on her face where she's like, it's like she recognizes who the other killer was that was chasing her. It's like she knew who that person was, and then she was like, no, like, why are you killing me? And she was like running away from them, and then she opens the door and there's a second killer, and the look on her face is like, wait, this is impossible. Like, she has some knowledge of who the killers are, but she doesn't. And that part of the movie, on the second watch, I was really watching for like, did I just imagine that it feels like she knows who the killers are here, and they're like betraying her in some way? And then no, it's not. It's just, it makes no sense. So there's that. was such a departure from the original trilogy, but just the fact that the story was just bad. Yeah, so wouldn't recommend Fear Street Prom Queen, the Netflix series. Would 100% recommend the original trilogy. Stand by that. Still holds up. Rewatch it every July and June because that's when it originally aired. And for some reason, I just remember that it exists at that time of year. And then I go back and watch it. I think Netflix just knocked it out of the park so hard with that it was going to be hard for anything to really live up to that. And then to do a hard departure from it not relating to that at all, but also just to have such a poor story and such a horrendous adaptation of this book, which was a great story. If they had stayed true to this book, they could have done a wonderful rendition in video format. Like, it was so much better. It's such a better idea that, I don't know, let me know what you guys thought of the movie, because I read online that a lot of people really liked it. They thought, oh, it was so campy. That was something I read a lot. And then there were a lot of people like me who were super disappointed. And I want to know where everyone else is falling on this, because I'm just really interested to know. But yeah, so if you want a better rendition of Prom Queen and you were really disappointed with the Netflix series, read the book. It's so much better. Even though it is like a book for like teens. It was just better. And also, can we talk about the stupid dance off in the movie? Like, what was that? I was like, the secondhand embarrassment cringing so hard. Like, so hard. I almost had to like walk out of the room and wait until it was over. It was so horrific. I would just cringing so hard, and I actually forgot when I went to watch it the second time. I forgot that was in there, and when it started to get to that point, and I remembered that it was gonna happen, I was like, oh god, not this again. But yeah, I don't want to spoil the book. I have no problem spoiling the movie, but I don't want to spoil the book just because it's so much better. So I'm not going to tell you who the killer is or why the killer is in the book. You have to read it to find out. And I guess I didn't really 100% tell you who the killer is or why the killer is in the movie either. But I guess you still have the mystery of that as well. So if you're wondering what this is, it's the dust cover off my microphone that I took off to see if the sound was any better. So let me know how the sound is in this, because for some reason I got a new cell phone last year, a few months ago. I can't even remember now, and that's what I used to film with. And the microphone, it seems to be like one at each end or something, and so when I'm talking and I move my head, it will cut the volume out severely. So now I have to use my other mic, which I have to plug into my computer, which is a pain in the butt. It works a lot better and the sound quality is a lot better, but it means I have to sync audio and video together, which is just another extra step that I hate doing. And the mic that I had, the lav mic that plugs into my phone, broke. So this is just what we're dealing with